What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're taking another look at Witcher 3 here on the Steam Deck, as they've just released a hotfix tonight for Proton getting the DirectX 12 version working. So we're going to compare it to the DX11 Next Gen Update as well in this video with some FSR and some other stuff. But before that, if you have Proton hotfix already on your Steam Deck, that will show up in your downloads if it's not automatically downloading. Or if you don't, you can go into your library and search for Proton here, scroll down, and you should be able to find Proton hotfix. You'll be able to click on that and install it. I recommend installing it on your internal storage, just like any of the Proton versions. So once you do that, the hotfix will automatically apply and you should be good to go. If you have any problems, give your deck a restart, but I'm not forcing any compatibility layers in properties, as I haven't for any of my testing videos and shouldn't need to, and the hotfix will automatically apply there. So that'll get us going and get us into DirectX 12. So let's launch the game. The launcher will show up here for GOG. We'll be able to click play with the DirectX 12 initiated here. And this has been working for me for the past couple of hours now on two Steam Decks, which is great to see. So settings wise, if you saw my earlier video right before this one, I've matched those settings again for DX12 to DX11 because we're going to do some comparisons, but we're also going to take a look at FSR and some other recommended settings in the video. So stick with me and we'll go through all of this here. Now we're in DirectX 12, which is great here. We're not crashing. I'm able to get into all my save games, which is great. Performance is a little rough here and there. We'll talk more about that, but I do want to compare it to DirectX 11 on the Next Gen Update as well. And again, these settings are matched, and it's really interesting to see the difference that we get with the DirectX 12 lighting and shadows, which for me I think is some of the biggest things that I see throughout the different scenes here. Besides performance, our frame rate actually a lot of the time will be the same. Not everywhere, and we'll take a look at that too, but in a lot of areas it will be, but frame times compared to the DX11 just don't tend to be as good in DX12. It's not as smooth of an experience, though it does look much better, to be honest, and I was waiting for this to be able to check it out. Let's look at another scene here as we go through. And this is another decent one, showing a similar FPS, but better frame times on DX11. But graphics wise, when it comes to the shadows and the lighting, you just do get better visuals with DX12. And you can see that as you get into different areas of the game. Really happy to see both versions launching now on the Steam Deck, though they do still need some work. Now in this scene, you'll actually see the FPS difference that you can get out in open world and our GPU usage there and our CPU usage. So DX11 definitely doing better in this area of the open world. It will depend on where you're at, but visuals on DX12 certainly are a bit better and more realistic. So that's it for the comparison part. Just running around with some DirectX 12 Next Gen Update here, those medium to low settings with no FSR yet. Yeah, performance, like I said, depending on where you're at, it's going to depend on what you get. It's certainly not as smooth as DX11 or near as smooth as before the Next Gen Update, but at least it's launching now. So let's take a look at some FSR. Now this is our anti-aliasing TAAU that we've been using. And this has been my go-to in the game and does a decent job for the most part. And let's switch over to FSR quality here. And quality is going to be kind of the best we can get out of it, and I'm not a big fan of how it muddies up the water, though it does a decent job. And we'll switch over to balanced here. And again, I'm not a huge fan of how we continue to degrade in our picture quality with FSR. We're already at such low resolution that we're then upscaling. Performance, definitely when you get into the world and you're moving around, I wouldn't recommend it, but I just thought I would throw it in here. I think if you're going to use FSR at all, quality is kind of going to be as low as you go on that. And then here's no anti-aliasing, just in case you want to see what the game looks like that way. Definitely not recommended. I like the TAAU or FSR quality, I guess would be the two I would go with. Now, just looking at low settings for the fun of it really quickly, yes, you can just put everything to low here and get yourself much closer to holding the 60 FPS and maybe cleaning up the frame times a little bit, but it's not going to be perfect and it's going to depend on where you go in the game. So I think I'll pretty much stick with kind of medium or a mix of medium and low when I'm messing with those settings. But the holy grail of the Steam Deck often is the 40 Hz mode, and I think just with full-on medium settings here with FSR and quality, just seeing how that performed, and 40 Hz mode capping to 40 FPS here, this was probably one of the better, more consistent experiences I was getting because the frame times really aren't going anywhere. I'm sure, depending on where I get into the game, things could spike or give me issue here and there, but this definitely offered just what felt like a much smoother experience, and I do love this mode for certain games on the Steam Deck. So kind of for right now I'm going to be messing with these settings, but let me know how you guys are going to be playing Witcher 3 on your Steam Deck. I'm really happy to see FSR and DirectX 12 working here. Thanks a lot for coming to check out the video, guys. As always, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.